Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am filming a video about answering commonly asked questions about the gastric sleeve surgery. If you are new here, I had the gastric sleeve surgery back on June 8th of 2022. So I am approaching 4 months post-op and I am currently down, I think I just mentioned it in my last video, but I'm down 62 pounds from that point, and then from my highest I'm down about like 74, I think, something like that. But yeah, so today I got a list of questions. There's 25. I was gonna see if there's more questions I could get, but I feel like a lot of these are like the majority commonly asked questions that people ask before they get the gastric sleeve or before they get any type of other bariatric surgery. So I'm just gonna start with the first question, which is what is VSG, or what is vertical sleeve gastrectomy, aka also a gastric sleeve. It is a type of bariatric surgery where they cut out 75% of your stomach, like 3/4, and they create this sleeve shape of your stomach. That's why it's called the gastric sleeve. So they take like a stapler and they staple right where they're looking to cut out the portion of the stomach. So it basically cuts and seals your new stomach while getting rid of the other portion of your stomach, if that makes sense. I will put up a photo of it right here and it would give you like a better idea rather than me trying to tell you. And if you're seeing this video, you probably know what it looks like by now if you're clicking on this video. So the next question I have is, am I a good candidate for weight loss surgery? So you typically qualify for bariatric surgery if you have a BMI of 35 or greater. My BMI was 52 or something, like 52, 54. My BMI right now is 42, but it was 52 when I started. It's also if you have like type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, any other type of medical issues along with your weight. So that usually makes you a good candidate. I never had diabetes or anything like that. I didn't have any like medical issues. Like I wasn't taking medication for any type, like my blood pressure was good, my cholesterol was good, like all my numbers were good. So I got the surgery because I was overweight and I am getting older. I'm 27. I turned 28 in May. So I'm just trying to get control of myself. So I don't have those issues. And then for like the starting out process, how do you find a surgeon? Do you Google it? Do you ask a doctor? Do you ask a friend? At the time when I started the process, I had health insurance that didn't require a referral. So if you have health insurance that requires a referral, you need a referral from your primary care to get, like, to see the doctor. You basically have to like get their approval. But I didn't have health insurance that required it. I could just see any doctor I wanted. I didn't need anything from my primary care. So at the time I didn't have a referral. I didn't ask my doctors because my mom actually had a friend whose, I think, daughter had the surgery a while ago and she saw this specific surgeon. So that's why I chose him. Also, he's a surgeon that works in the city of Boston, and I very much so trust the doctors in Boston. There's very good doctors in there. So I think it's really important to find a doctor that you trust and that does a good job, because it definitely affects the long term of your surgery and how you recover and how you feel and the support and things like that. So I do think picking a surgeon that is good and has like a good support system and things like that, that it does a lot for your success. I saw Dr. Anthony McClooney. He did the surgery at St. Elizabeth's in Boston, but he has an office in Brockton that I would go to see him for my appointments, and I would see his like nurse and the nutritionist and his whole team. They're really supportive. So I definitely think looking into a surgeon that is helpful in that manner and that's good and that has good reviews, and it changes a lot about how your surgery goes and how your after success goes. I keep looking at my phone because I'm reading the questions. I didn't want to go into this blindly without questions because then this would be very long. So the next question I wrote down is, how much weight can you expect to lose? So you are typically expected to lose up to 70% of your body weight, or like the excess weight that you're carrying. Because obviously, like, people that are really healthy and like have low body fat percentages, not low fat, whatever, there's a portion of your body weight that is healthy weight that you need to keep to survive, okay? That's what I mean. So I'm looking at these answers because I also wrote them down. The sleeve gastrectomy typically results in 25 to 35% body weight loss or 50 to 70% excess weight loss from your baseline starting point. Your excess body weight is the difference between your ideal weight and your current weight. They just answered that. So I started the day of surgery at 318. I'm currently 256. So I'm assuming once I get under 200, I have probably lost most of the weight that I'm going to from this surgery. I don't know. Maybe I'll lose more. I have no idea. Can we also just like take a second I got this shirt from my mom. Okay, well, I'm not trying to insult her, but she gave it to me because she didn't like it or something. And it's like too big on me now, but it's like comfortable, like an oversized shirt comfortable. That's why I put it on. But I just found it in my closet because I like don't have anything that fits anymore besides these American Eagle jeans that I wear every single day. I obviously, being 330 pounds, is very overweight, but there are people that are a lot heavier that get the surgery. So I know a lot of people that will like get the sleeve and then they've lost so much from the sleeve, their body's not like the point where it's like, okay, like now you have to kind of keep going. Some of them will get like a revision to get the bypass because you can't eat as much with the bypass. The sleeve, you can definitely eat a little bit more. But yeah, some people do get the bypass after, which I think it's good to have the option, I feel like, if you get the sleeve and then just get the revision after. But not everyone needs it. I think it just depends on how your progress goes. And I mean, I don't want to say I would never get the bypass, but I don't think I'll ever need it because I was heavy, but I was never like, I feel like I was like in the middle with heaviness. Like I don't think I would ever need to get the revision, knock on wood, because we about to be not getting another one. It's not bad to get another one. I'm just saying I don't think I would, but I don't know. Things happen. So the next question is, will insurance cover the cost of the surgery? So my experience with it, my health insurance didn't cover everything, but it definitely covered most of it. For like the price point, I spent probably like just under $800 for the surgery itself. Obviously, like adding up the copays I've spent on my appointments and things like my copay, I think it was $20 when it first started, and then it went up to like $30 when I swapped insurances because I swapped jobs. So you kind of like do spend a lot of money unless you have really good insurance. Then some people don't have copays, so it varies per insurance. But I know that when I paid for the surgery portion of it and not like the copays from the normal appointments, it was just under $800 I had to pay out of pocket. But the surgery is expensive in America. I'm pretty sure it's close to like $20K. So paying just under $800 for a surgery that's $20,000 to $25,000 in America, it's like nothing. So I actually paid that before I had the surgery. You could get on like a payment plan if you can afford it, but I just credited it and paid it off. Is that a word? Credited it? Sounds like I'm like dying. Okay. All right. How do they perform surgery for the gastric sleeve? So, you know what's weird is the day of surgery, I remember I was in like sorry, my hair is like getting stuck to my mouth. I was in like the pre-op area by myself because my mom couldn't come back, but she was there with me like in the waiting room. I have had my gallbladder up before, so I've had surgery. This isn't new to me, and I've had a colonoscopy, which isn't surgery, but you're still being put under for that. So I've been put under before. But like before my gastric sleeve, which I would understand it more because it was like my first surgery, I was like losing it. I was literally panicking. And granted, I also wasn't on my Lexapro back then. So, but my day of surgery for my gastric sleeve, I didn't lose it. I didn't cry. I didn't do any of that, which is like honestly kind of proud of myself because usually I lose it, but I didn't lose it at all. So that's good. I didn't even so with my gallbladder being taken out, like I got it out in 2019 because I had gallstones and stuff. And I remember with that coming out, my blood pressure was really high when I got to the hospital that day because I was like stressed out. but they like drugged, maybe because I was freaking out, they gave me a lot of medicine before they even took me back to the operating room. And I like barely remember being in the operating room itself. It was very like, I don't remember. But for my bariatric surgery, they like inserted an IV in pre-op. I was fully sober when they they rolled me in my bed to the operating room. And I was very much sober when they had me get on the operating table. I was awake not the entire surgery, but beforehand, like the prep. And then once you get on the table, I don't know if that's how all surgeons handle it, but once you get on the table, that's what they did to me. They like got me all figured out and they put like a mask over me, like over my face, and just told me to take deep breaths, and then that just knocks you out. So and I didn't cry or anything. I was just like, okay, I'll take deep breath. It's just, you're just like literally going to sleep. Like it just feels like you're going to sleep. You don't even realize at the time that you're like getting knocked out. So it's very like not a big deal. But when they perform the surgery, they create a narrow sleeve by stapling the stomach from the portion of the larger portion of the stomach, and then it just pulls. They pull it off, and they do it laparoscopically, or they did it for me laparoscopically. Usually if they do it laparoscopic, if there's an issue or they need to cut more open, they'll tell you there's a risk that they would have to fully cut you open during surgery, which would suck because then your recovery time is like a lot longer because you cut your stomach open, that scar is much bigger. But thankfully they just had to do laparoscopic, and I have 5 incisions, and I'm not one that really cares about scarring on my body, so I don't care that they're there at all. I'm not insecure about them or anything. I don't care. So, but I know some people do care about that stuff, and there are creams and oils and things like that you can get to help like reduce it. I know with my gallbladder, when they did it laparoscopically, the scarring became very light. Like you can't even find my scars for my gallbladder anymore. For this one, let me show you. See this one? You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have one up here, 5. But they're like darker. They're like red dark. And I don't know why, because they said during the summer when you're like recovering and stuff, especially with like the sun, and they say to put sunblock over it, like not directly when you're out of surgery, but like after your scarring has closed and stuff. Probably after the 6 weeks, I'd say I got the clearance for that. I never put sunblock on it. I'm not a big beach person or pool person, so I don't really have to deal with that. But they became like redder, they're darker, and I don't care, but like I'm hoping they kind of like get lighter over time, but who cares? Whatever. I mean, I do care, but I don't care. They're just like annoying sometimes, but. And then after surgery too, let me go into that after. So what are the risks of surgery? You have to sign like this whole form, obviously, before any surgery, just in case something were to happen. I had to sign for like blood transfusion, like if I lost a lot of blood, to give them the okay to give me a transfusion. But with the gastric sleeve, there's like a very low percentage of like bleeding. So, but I still had to sign something. I okayed a transfusion because I don't want to die. I mean, you can die from transfusion, I feel like, if they like infections and stuff. In surgery, you can die from an infection. So it says excessive bleeding, infection, adverse reactions to anesthesia, blood clots, lung or breathing problems, leaks from the cut edge of the stomach, gastrointestinal obstruction, hernias, gastroesophageal reflux, low blood sugar, malnutrition, and vomiting. Okay, I just want to talk about some of these risks because I did experience some of them after my surgery. When I had my gallbladder out, I had no issue with anesthesia, nothing whatsoever. And I don't know if this was the anesthesia or just the type of surgery I had, but when I woke up from my sleeve surgery, I was gagging, like dry heaving very badly. And I was like still like out of it, but I remember dry heaving, and it kind of sucked because they just did surgery on my stomach, so dry heaving and like having your stomach cramp up like that kind of sucked. But I don't know if it was the anesthesia. It could have been, or it could have just been because they're cutting your stomach. So it could have been that. So I did sign off on it's like a nerve tap block or something before surgery. So they basically said that like if you wake up with like dry heaving, because that's uncomfortable, they can perform a nerve tap block, which is when they insert needles into your like each side of your abdomen. Sorry, you can't see me, but they insert needles and they inject some type of like numbing whatever they inject. It like relaxes the nerve in your stomach, so you're not like, it's not cramping, which in effect you stop gagging. I was a little bit more awake for this, and I was crying because I was in pain when I was in recovery. I was probably being really loud, and they were like, we're gonna do a nerve tap block on you, just give us a second. They went in to both of my sides, each side of the abdomen. I think they were trying to get into each side of the stomach, and they went in at the same time. And one of the nurses or doctors was telling the other girl that was there, like, you'll feel it go through X amount of layers before you know you're at the nerve. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like listening to them talk about it while they're in but it wasn't that bad, to be honest, because you're already in so much pain. You literally take anything to make it go away. Probably, I mean, I've never had kids, but probably similar to like women getting medicated before they, well, like when they go into labor. So it kind of relieves the pain, and you probably don't even think about how it's gonna hurt to get the epidural or whatever, because you're just like, just give it to me because I am in pain. So if that makes you feel better, I'm not trying to like scare you out of the surgery, because I would get that tap block 20 times over if I, oh my God, sorry. I would get the tap block a million times over just to get the surgery. It's not that bad, but I just want to let you know about it. But anything else, like blood clots, lung or breathing problems, I mean, after surgery, we'll say it like kind of hurt to breathe a little bit. It wasn't like severe, but I think it's just because like you obviously just had a major surgery on your stomach, so that does take a toll on you. But they give you at the hospital, like you just blow into it. People, I forget what they're called, but you've definitely, if you watch my surgery video that I posted, you'll see it in there. Just look on my page. I actually have an entire like playlist of like my gastric videos. So honestly, I probably left some of them out of my playlist by accident, but most of them are in there. Another question I wrote down was how long we have to stay at the hospital. I only had to stay a night. I was really hoping I wouldn't get a roommate. I got lucky in the beginning when I first got out of surgery, and then they brought me back to my room. But at 11 o'clock at night, I had been asleep. You can't sleep at the hospital. I've never been admitted to the hospital as far as I can remember. You can't sleep. People come in your room left and right. Maybe if you don't have a roommate, it's a little better, but the nurses are constantly coming in your room, checking your vitals, if they need to administer more medicine to you, whatever. But I ended up getting a roommate at 11, and she was losing it over her glasses and how she lost them, and she had nurses looking for it. And then one of the nurses was like, it's on your head. So I got woken up to that. She was told not to get out of her bed. She had a bed alarm because she had a stroke. She got out of her bed, the bed alarm went off. It was great, great. And then the next morning, she asked for a peanut butter sandwich at 7 in the morning. I'm like, they haven't even served breakfast. And she just kept asking for it. I wanted to be like, lady, this isn't like a hotel. This isn't a staycation. You need to go. She was really annoying. And she would like walk by my bed and then talk to me because her bed was against the window. Mine was like closer to the door, so she had to use the bathroom. Then she had to walk by my bed. I mean, she was fine, but it was just, don't expect a good night's sleep. It's not gonna happen. And they do keep you longer. I know some surgeons don't keep their patients overnight. They let you go the same day. I'm kind of glad I got to stay the night, only because it's your stomach. You don't want anything bad to happen. And then, to be honest, the hospital that I went to is like an hour from my house. So I don't want to come home to then have to like rush back to that hospital. I wouldn't have to rush back to that one. I could just go to a local hospital in my town, but I wouldn't want to do that. I would rather just go to the hospital that I had it done at, and then my surgeon could probably show up if he was like if he was in that day. So how many days do you need to take off from work to recover? So I had my surgery on a Wednesday. I work Monday through Friday. So I had taken Wednesday off. I worked the day before, but I took Wednesday off, Thursday off, Friday off, and then I took the next week off, Monday through Friday. So I was out for 8 work days. Could I have gone back sooner? Probably, but sometimes, like even with my gallbladder surgery, I felt better and I thought it was like 100%, but you still need to be careful because you have a weight restriction. You can't lift anything over like a gallon of milk for the first 6 weeks, basically, because they don't want you to. If you pick up anything too heavy, you can risk tearing like your stitches and whatever they use to seal your stomach. That was with any surgery. So I just took a week and a half off because I'm like, I have the time. I actually filed for FMLA when I went out just so I had something to like protect my job because I hadn't even been there a year when I had the surgery. It's not bad, but if you have a job where you like, it also depends what kind of job you have. I have a desk job. I don't do a lot of moving, but if you have like a physical job, you're going to be out longer. Yeah, so I would recommend talking to your doctor, letting them know what you do so you're not overdoing it, because the last thing you want to do is screw something up and then be back in the hospital in pain. So yeah. So what should you expect in terms of wound and scarring? I just showed you, but I had 5 incisions. They're like an inch long. That's it. And mine are kind of red, but I just showed you what they look like. So I don't think, some people scars I think are like lighter. I think it just depends how your skin is and things like that. Your diet post-surgery. So I didn't have to do like a 2-week liquid diet before my surgery. They just wanted me to eat light the day before and that was it. So I'm grateful for that because I've heard that sucks, especially if you haven't had the surgery yet. But the first 2 weeks, so week 1 and 2 after surgery, you're on liquid only. So I literally ate like, I drank water. I had butternut. Actually, did I have this the first week? I don't think I did. I had water. I had a lot of sugar-free pudding for the first 2 weeks. I was told I could have that. It's not like a liquid, but it's like, I know I was told I could. I'm trying to remember, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I did have that. Yeah. Because I like lived off that shit for the first 2 weeks. And then I had like 0 Gatorade. I still drink 0 Gatorade now. And then I tried Jell-O. I've had Jell-O before, but I feel like Jell-O tasted a lot better when I was a child and not at the age of 27. I barely ate the first 2 weeks. So. Oh, I had protein shakes. Sorry. How did I forget that? I had protein shakes, a lot of protein shakes. But it doesn't suck as much the 2 weeks after surgery because you're in recovery. You don't really want to eat. It's actually harder to get in anything. I remember I was struggling to hit like 300 calories a day. I lost 24 pounds my first week after surgery, which is like insane. It's not that great. So then after week 1 and 2, from week 3 to 5, it's soft food. So I could have like tuna. I had chicken salad a ton. I didn't have to puree it. My doctor was just like, if you have chicken, just make sure it's not like tough or like thick. And if it is, chew it a lot so it goes down, okay? Because you're really just trying to reintroduce food back into your body with a whole new stomach. So you gotta have to baby it for a little bit. And then as of week 6, I was on a normal diet. I could eat whatever. So obviously I lost a lot of weight my first 6 weeks, like a lot of weight, and then kind of slowed down for a month and a half, and now I'm back on the dropping chain, whatever the heck it is, for weight loss again, which is like a really positive thing. But yeah. What meds are you on post-surgery? So every day I take omeprazole. I don't know what the dosage is. I just take what they give me. And I take my Lexapro, which is like my mental health med. I take 2 Flintstone chewable multivitamin. And then I take vitamin D. And I'm supposed to be taking calcium, but I'm really bad at taking my calcium. It's like a chewable, and I'm supposed to have it, it's like a soft chew. I'm supposed to have it at like midday and then before bed, and I'm just really, really bad at taking that because I take all my meds in the morning, and then once midday or like later hits, and I'm like, I don't remember. And I told my office that the other day. I'm like, I'm really bad at my calcium ones. But I didn't take vitamin D right after surgery. You're literally, well, I did because I didn't know I couldn't. And then when I had my like 2-week post-op, they're like, yeah, you don't have to take that right now. I was like, oh. But because they like slowly reintroduce that stuff back into your diet. I think I was just on the Flintstones, my Lexapro, and my omeprazole right after surgery. And then after like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I then took, I think it was the 6 weeks, I then took my vitamin D. I haven't taken biotin since surgery. I haven't really lost a lot of hair or anything, like nothing like that I could tell. This is just because my hair's thin, so I know it looks like I'm balding, but it's just the way I pulled my hair back. But my hair has never been like super thick or super thin. It's just kind of like in the middle. It's just there. But I'm grateful that I haven't experienced that. But I also heard that some people don't experience hair loss until like month 4, and I'm like approaching that, so I'm hoping my hair doesn't fall out or I'll cry. How much can you eat post-surgery? So I would say when you're first out of surgery, you can't eat that much. I think I started with like after week 1 and 2, when I started getting like soft foods, I would eat up to like 2 ounces at a time. I remember one time after my 6 weeks, I ate too many turkey deli slices, and it was really bad. I had a really bad gas pain in the center of my back, and it was just not fun. I literally felt like I was dying every time I breathed. It hurt. And then I haven't experienced that ever again. But just remember to eat slow. And I think it was because I was like just out of surgery 6 weeks, and it just wasn't fun. So just eat slow. I now, after like my recovery of the 6 weeks, I could eat like probably up to 5 ounces in a sitting, probably 4. I'm trying to think like what I should be eating, probably like 4 ounces in a sitting. So I usually, when I measure my food though, I don't even eat that much. I'm just trying to think of an ounce amount, but I don't know if I can really pinpoint one. Probably on average like 4 ounces per meal. I can typically finish, like if I make a turkey burger at home, I could finish the burger. And those are like the size of my palm. The turkey burgers are pretty small. And then I'll usually have like a vegetable with it. So I don't know. I don't really know how to like properly tell you the amount of that, but hopefully my description helped. All right, what will your bowel movements be like after surgery? This is a really important question because before surgery, I was an everyday goer, every day, and it felt great because, you know, just emptying your body. And I know it sounds really weird to like be like, but when you go every day, I feel like it's just like, you know, your digestion's working, right? And I don't go every day anymore, but I'm not uncomfortable either. Like I'm not bloated. I think it's because after surgery, you don't eat as much, so your body just doesn't have to go as frequently. I probably go right now. I'm not usually ever constipated when I go. I know some people deal with constipation pretty badly. I think I dealt with constipation like here and there, but I probably go like 2 to 3 times a week. Something like that. It also helps when you exercise. I feel like that helps move the stuff around too and like get your body like emptying. So yeah, I probably go a few times a week to pass the bowel movement. And most of the time it's like, it's not hard to go. But I know some people that struggle with that after surgery. I did struggle with it at first, obviously. And I would I took Miralax in the beginning. And then I switched over to Colace. Is that how you say it? Colace? That helps too. And it's not like an immediate hit. It's like over the day, like you could take it in the morning and get hit like either by the end of the day or by the next day with that stuff. And not hit as in like a really bad hit. You just go. You'd be like, oh, I have to go, and you'd go. I've seen this question a lot in places where people think they've like stretched their stomach. So can you stretch your stomach easily? I've had a conversation like this with my nutritionist. My nutritionist said it's not that easy to stretch your stomach. And she was like, and if you're stretching your stomach, chances are you'll know because you're puking. She said a lot of people that like overeat, they'll puke. And that's when you're like, could be stretching your stomach. She's like, just like fullness isn't going to make you stretch your stomach. I think you would have to like eat enough where you get like really uncomfortable, but she said it's pretty hard to stretch your stomach, and you'll never stretch your stomach back to its original size, even like before surgery. So if you do stretch your stomach, it could stretch a little bit, but it'll never go up to the size it was. But but I've been told it's not that easy to stretch it. I do think though, sometimes I'm like, am I stretching my stomach by eating this? Am I stretching my stomach? Like, am I uncomfortable? Am I stretching my stomach? Another question I saw online, because I got a lot of these off, like between like what I wanted to know and I Googled some to get ideas. But are weight loss stalls normal? Yes, they are. Oh my gosh. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been talking about my stall that I've had for like 3 months, not 3 months, probably like a month and a half. I think I had the stall for probably 6 weeks, I'd say, which is terrible. And it pissed me off because I got to week 6 and then it started slowing down. And sometimes you can tell like by what you're eating, like, okay, this is probably why I'm not losing, but it wasn't even that. Like, I just think my body was in like so much shock from losing so much weight. I think I lost like 40 pounds in my first 6 weeks. And that's a lot on the body. Your body goes into like shock basically. And then it started dropping again. So I remember I was stuck between like 269 and 275. Now I'm at 256. So I broke it. And I'm glad I broke it, but try not to get discouraged during that time. It really upset me that I was stuck, and I basically upped my cardio. I started taking my dog outside for a walk, not every day, but like I would add it in, and then I would ride my Peloton, like be more consistent on that, and it helped drop it. I actually just ordered a set of dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells. I don't have a gym membership because I really don't want to pay for one. And I have a Peloton bike, and there's classes on the Peloton app that I get. So I'm trying to do as much as I can through the Peloton bike and like body weight or exercises and things like that while I can temporarily. And if I come to the point where I'm like, okay, I want to lift weights. Now, like heavier weights, I need to take control of that eventually because I'll probably have a lot of extra skin, but I'm like, I'll just get surgery to remove my skin. Like, I'm gonna build muscle by walking, but obviously when you lift actual weights, your muscles will build more. And when you lift weights, you actually burn calories longer than like for 24 hours post, like right after you work out. If you lift weights, you're gonna burn to like repair the muscle, your body, like building the muscle, you're burning more calories than you would doing cardio, because doing cardio, you're just burning the calories in that moment. But with the weightlifting, you burn it like after you lift weights, and then you're burning it for the next 24 hours. So it is good to lift weights. I just haven't introduced that back in yet, but I did just buy the 10-pound dumbbells to use at home and I'm going to try to start doing like body classes, like workouts and stuff like that. I probably will eventually get a gym membership. I just don't want to do it right now. And it's more so out of convenience. Like, I also pay for my, well, I just set the camera, Peloton bike too. So like, I'm just trying to be like financially, like watch my money and things like that. We love I don't know what they'd call that. Never mind. Okay. Another question was, what test do you have to take to get the surgery? I know I'm kind of going now backwards back to like pre-surgery stuff. I had to get the barium swallow, which is you go to a hospital, they have you drink this like powdery, chalky mixture, and the radiologist will like tell you like, oh, hold it in your mouth, and they take pictures on like your sides and like you're straight on, and then they'll tell you like swallow it and take more pictures, and it basically like outlines like down your esophagus into your stomach and things like that, and it's to check for like hernias or any like abnormalities. And I didn't have anything that showed up on there, so I know some people have to get the endoscopy as well. I didn't have to get an endoscopy because my barium swallow came back normal. I don't know if some surgeons will still do the endoscopy if the barium swallow comes back normal. I know my surgeon did it because he didn't see a reason to, which is great. Because why put someone through something when you don't really have to, right? So, but barium swallow I had to get when I first started the process, which was about a year ago. I had to get like 9 vials of blood taken, and I'm like fine with needles. I just like, my veins are really small and they're deep, so it's hard for them to get a vein, and they did 9 vials. So they did the blood work, and they also had you do, which is at the same time as the blood work, you drink something and then you blow into the back. It's to test for a bacteria in your stomach, because if you have that bacteria, then you have to get on meds to make sure it gets rid of it before. So I didn't have that bacteria. I didn't test, but I'm trying to think what the bacteria's name is, and I literally can't think of it. If someone knows what I'm talking about, can you comment it down below, and I'll pin your comment because I don't remember what it was. Why can't I remember it? I don't know. And then blood test, barium swallow, you have to get cleared by a therapist. I had a therapist for like a year before the surgery, so she knew about my entire mental health thing. They pretty much just want to make sure this isn't like an impulse decision, like that you're making like a decision, like a actual genuine thought out decision to do the surgery. So I was cleared. I think it was also helpful that like I had a therapist that already knew my background, but my surgeon did give me a whole list of therapists too if I didn't have one, but I already had one and I was allowed to use her, so she cleared me. You have to lose 5% of your body weight. I think it varies per doctor. My office was pretty laid back, but so my highest weight was like between 330 and 335. I just say 330 because that was like the one number I remember, but I know I've been over 330, but I don't think I've ever been over 335. But you have to lose 5% of your body weight. I had to lose, so that was like 15 pounds for me. And I did it, but it did, I mean, it didn't take that long. But the thing was, is when I had my surgery, COVID was just like up and everywhere in everyone's business. And I had to go through like a 6-month process under my health insurance. They required a 6-month process to go through. Some health insurances don't, but I had to see my team for a whole 6 months. So I started the process in like July and August. My 6th month hit in like January/February. That's when like COVID was hitting the hospitals. Still, this is this past year. And I couldn't get my surgery because they were like, we are now, we have been told we can't do like our surgeries right now and it's on a halt. So then they had to cancel people from like January to March for surgery and then reschedule them. So I had to wait, and then, which is fine, like no rush. And then I had my surgery in June on the 8th, but they scheduled me in like May, I think, for that date. But yeah, they had to like reschedule their people that they had to cancel. So it was a whole thing. But for health insurance clearance, they send that over after you've hit your goal weight, or that's what my office does. And they said they got a response really quickly. I think my health insurance is also really good with communication. So that's also helpful. But yeah. And then I mentioned the endoscopy. I don't think there was any other tests I had to take. If there's any tests that you had to take that I didn't have to take, comment them down below because I'm curious to see. I had another question, like, what is life like post-gastric sleeve? Just like food is different. I can still eat anything, but if it's like a carbier food like chicken fingers or like a quesadilla or things like that, I tend to get fuller quicker, but then I just have leftovers for a very long time. But if it's like deli meat or like cheese sticks, things that are like not as thick or like heavy in your stomach, those I can eat more of. It just, that doesn't make any sense. But, and then people in your life, it's different because people aren't used to you being like skinny or smaller. And I think that can be hard for some people to process. You'll deal with people kind of saying things about your surgery and kind of acting like they know everything about it, coming from people that have never had it. So, and that can kind of get really frustrating. The mental part of it, which I've heard before, it can be kind of annoying. Mine's not that bad, but I am just really hard on myself, and oh my God, I need to stop saying I've only, but I've lost whatever, 63, 62 pounds since surgery. And for some reason in my head, sometimes I'm like, that's not enough. I should have lost more. I should have lost more. I just talked about this in my last video, but I just went to my 3-month post-op appointment, like 3 to 4 month post-op appointment. And they were like, we only expected a 45-pound weight loss, Veronica, and you hit 60. So I think it's kind of hard to get out of the mindset that like, you only lost this much. Like, at least you lost, okay? It doesn't matter how much you lose as long as you're losing. And I think it just can kind of overly consume you and your thoughts and your head, and you can just be hard on yourself for it, which kind of stinks. But just remember like how far you've come, and that you shouldn't just like be so hard on yourself, because if the scale isn't moving, sometimes if like you're working out, like you're just building muscle, your body's readjusting, and you're physically look smaller, but maybe your number hasn't changed. So I think the mental health side of it, I mean, it is talked about sometimes, but I don't think it's talked about a lot at times. And it can just be hard to take in, just because sometimes people do make comments and they think they know what's best for you. And a lot of times it does come from like a place of caring, but sometimes it can come off like they're trying to tell you how things work or how things should be or what you should eat or what you should do, when you have an entire team of surgeons and licensed professionals at your fingertips helping you. So a lot that has really made me frustrated. I sometimes feel like I have eyes on me at all times seeing what I'm doing, and obviously I'm on YouTube so anyone has access to this, but I'm making these videos because I want to show people that want it, that like my experience. And that's like, I watched a ton of people's experiences before I came out on YouTube for doing things like this. So yeah, I don't want to get like too in depth on that because I could make like a really long video about it and I'm not going to. But another question I had is, when can you have sex post-surgery? Mom, if you're watching this, dad, if you're watching this, block your ears. Just listen to your body. I don't even know when I did. I mean, I don't have that. I don't know what that is. I don't have that. I don't have it. But yeah, just listen to your body though. And then what meds can you not take post-surgery? NSAIDs. So I used to take Excedrin all the time for headaches. Can't take that anymore. The only med I take is literally extra strength Tylenol, and it's like, it sometimes helps, sometimes doesn't. It kind of sucks. But you just can't take NSAIDs because they're blood thinners. I don't know why I think they can also cause ulcers and stuff. So like, they just don't want you to do that. And then how soon after surgery can you exercise? I was cleared for walking immediately, but like weightlifting and stuff, I think that's like 4 to 6, probably 6 weeks, I would say, to be safe. I'm also not a licensed professional. Talk to your doctor. Don't just watch my video and just be like, oh, Veronica said this. Please don't. I'm just speaking on behalf of my experience. So just don't take my word for everything because I'm not a licensed professional. I should have said this in the beginning. And of course, now I wait till the end of the video to do that. But, and then there was another question, was, can you use straws? I've seen a lot of things. It's supposedly with straws, you can take in a lot of air and it can hurt your stomach. I don't usually use straws, but I do if I go out to eat sometimes, and it doesn't hurt my stomach. Nothing happens. So I'm fine with straws. I don't even use straws every day, but when I do, it's rarely, and they don't bother my stomach ever. So I think it just varies per person. Gum chewing, I was never really a gum chewer, but I think as long as you don't swallow it, it's fine. I don't know what happens if you do swallow it, but I don't really chew gum. And then my last question is, can you drink and eat? You're not supposed to. Do I? I take little sips here and there. I need to be better at it, but the thing is when after the surgery, you need to prioritize whoa. Sorry, I'm like super windy. You need to prioritize protein, and then it's your vegetables, and then it's your carbs. And when you're like drinking fluid and eating, you get fuller quicker. Like fluid, like if I drink wine, like that could be a meal for me because it just makes me full, which is like not healthy. So, because there's actually some wine has like some nutritional value, not nutritional, but it's like red wine's good for you. I freaking hate red wine. So like maybe the wine I drink isn't nutritionally valued, but yeah. So I think with that, it's just, I mean, I'm like now almost 4 months post-op, so I'm gonna end the video here. So sorry if this is extremely long. I was actually gonna think of more questions to ask, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now we've recorded like 45 minutes of footage, and I just don't want my video to be super long. I feel like no one's gonna watch it if it's that long, but I feel like some people will. I don't know. I'm really sorry if it's too long. Hopefully I answered most of the questions for anyone that is new to the process of the bariatric surgery. We'll get the gastric sleeve specifically, but yeah, I could always do a part 2 if you guys have other questions. I feel like I answered most of like normal questions that people would ask or be interested in, and I think that's it. Also, have any of you watched Hocus Pocus 2 yet? I watched it last night by myself, and I was supposed to wait for my mom, but I didn't wait for my mom. I'm gonna watch it again with her today. I didn't really pay attention to it last night, but from what I got from it last night, it was just like, it was like more musical, like a musical type vibe, and I didn't really like it. But it wasn't bad, but the original wasn't good. Like way better, which I get, originals are usually way better, but anyways, thank you so much for watching my video. I appreciate you all so much, and I appreciate your support, and I appreciate all the nice comments, and I say this every single freaking time, but it's just like, I love filming and I love editing, and I'm just glad that like I can make videos to help people that are going through this process. And don't forget to follow me on all of my social media. They are listed in the description box below. They're also listed in my outro screen, but I'm more active on my Instagram than anything. I mentioned this before. I try to be more active on TikTok, but I'm not really that active. And Twitter is like up and down. But if you have any questions, definitely comment down below or message me on Instagram or whatever you want to do, and I'd be glad to answer. I appreciate you if you made it this far in the video, because this is a really long video, or I'm going to try to cut out as much as I can, but I talked a lot. So I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great weekend and a great week, and yeah, I love you. Bye.